Hey, welcome to Autism Playbook with
Hi.
Missy and Lance. And we were just talking. It's kind of late Thursday night, but we try to get these done on Thursday nights. And it's kind of a big week. We talked last week about getting into Dr. Krigsman's GI practice, and when you go to one of these kind of specialty autism doctors, there's a lot of work with your pediatrician and gathering labs. And so we were kind of going back to anybody that ever done a lab for Finn, and
It's a huge undertaking.
getting that information, and all
mile
the
long
information.
list.
But
Always
we did
worth it.
Yeah, we might even kind of show you how we organize those things, because we find if they're very organized, it just kind of facilitates good discussions and makes doctors happy. And
Lance is kind of a doctor's dream.
well,
He keeps things very organized.
at one point in my life, I did file tax returns, so I try to keep good files. Anyway, tonight we wanted to talk about something that you've seen. If you've read some of our articles, you've seen referred to, and this is called the Google to human approach.
Google the human.
We're not going to try to trademark that. Anybody can use it.
It's good though.
It's good.
It's good. It's descriptive.
So,
Do you want me to share an example?
I do.
When I used it?
Yeah. Well, I want to kind of give the context. So there's this Google is amazing. It really is life. I remember being a freshman in college and in the dorms, and my roommate saying, I grew up with, and you as well, with Yahoo, Hotbot,
Ask Jeeves.
Ask Jeeves.
Are we showing our age?
A little bit, but no, I remember this roommate saying, "Hey, check out this search engine called Google," and it had two buttons, like one was search and one was I'm feeling lucky.
I remember that.
And if you clicked I'm feeling lucky, it would take you to like the site it thought you wanted,
Mm-hmm.
And I remember thinking, "Oh, that's kind of funny. It's kind of strange." But and then just over time, Google became amazing to the point where it had its own verb. Go Google it. But I think the problem is it's so good that we got lazy. And so now we think when we have a problem,
you could solve it with Google.
You just ask.
I have tried to solve many a problem with Google.
Oh, me as well. And anybody with a child with autism, if you're going to, really be honest, you Googled how to cure autism.
How to cure it, what to do. I've had many different searches. New diagnosis, what to do next,
all those things.
Yeah.
But the problem is, and this kind of goes to another topic we talked about, that we're sometimes when we enter adulthood, we're waiting for some parent figure, whoever, to come in and kind of fix things. Mm-hmm. And sometimes we look to the search engine,
to be
that for us. But the thing is, it's very useful if you use it correctly and appropriately.
It's a tool. And so Google will not typically solve your complex problems. FAQ pages just aren't that good.
And there's plenty of exceptions. Occasionally you'll find someone with the exact thing you like. There are really no unique problems either. But
but especially autism parents, I find that they're not always going to have the time to blog about the process.
Yeah. So, okay. And, to cut to the chase. So we call it the Google the human approach because what we think is that humans are better at solving your complex problems, or experts. And so getting kind of the right people on the bus.
But how do you find the experts?
How do you find them? And so don't use Google to solve your problem. Use Google to find a human
to solve your
who can answer your question. And so this applies in so many places. Like one that I was talking about earlier on one of the articles is when you're trying to get Medicaid for your child with autism. Don't just Google how to get my child Medicaid, but literally find the Medicaid office, find a phone number, and talk to a human, because some things that are on the internet may not be true. Some may be outdated.
But Michael Scott says
what did Michael Scott say about Wikipedia?
Well, like, you know that you're getting the truth because anyone can write anything.
Oh, yes. This is the show our age video. We're talking about Google being new and
The Office.
The Office.
All right, go ahead.
So anyway, but other things. So like, maybe a common search term we've heard among autism parents is, does my child have autism? Or how do I know?
Yeah. Yep.
And so like you can Google a million sites, and after you've read all million, half of them will convince you your child has autism, half of them will convince you that they don't. They're just, but if you Google
developmental psychologists in my area
or ABA therapist or something like that, oftentimes you can get an expert and not even necessarily have to pay them to give you some advice.
Yes.
Again, for free. And like you go to someone who does ABA or developmental psychologist or whatever, they can spend 5 minutes with your child unofficially and they can say, yeah, I think you ought to do some further testing. I think you ought to do some testing. Yeah. Or they can say, no, I see 300 children in, a year and your child is not.
Can I share a personal experience for the Google the Human? This was the first time I really saw the value. So Finn was diagnosed in December, but in the fall before that, we started to notice that something was probably wrong. It was likely autism. And so I started Googling, trying to solve the problem. And I kept reading that he should be getting 40 hours of therapy a week. And I was like, 40 hours of speech therapy? Like, what kind of therapy are we talking about? So I just kept Googling, and then ABA therapy popped up. And so I wasn't sure what this intense therapy was. So through my Googling, I was able to find that it was ABA, Applied Behavior Analysis. And so I Googled ABA providers in our area, and one popped up. And so I called, and I was so overwhelmed, and it was just so new. And I talked to the program director of our ABA clinic, and it was the first time I felt like hopeful. And I think that that's what someone really great can do. They can tell you, well, this is what you need to do. Do you have an official diagnosis? Like we can work with you once you have these things, and then this is what it can look like, and this is what we can help with, and it was so great. I tell everyone.
No, I remember what seemed like for months you kind of Googling and reading on websites, and you'd read one thing one day and kind of get confused, and then you spent just a short amount of time with that program director, and it made a huge difference in our understanding of what we needed to do. So again, Google is awesome.
It is.
But it's made us a little bit lazy in solving complex problems. And maybe someday that will be its thing. But Google is a tool used to, search and not necessarily answer questions, but to search for resources. Yeah. And one of your best resources in the autism world are going to be other autism parents, of course, all types of practitioners, that sort of thing. And so to the extent that you can use Google to find these people.
And I would say, this is a little bit of a tangent, but you can use the Google the Human approach on Facebook. Like if you're looking for a support group, like you can search like Mississippi autism parents groups. And I think you can find some really good support that way, just using the same tools, and then message somebody and reach out to them that way.
Yeah.
If you need a community.
The Google the Human approach is not limited to
Google. Anyway, so that's Google the Human. It's helpful. Use it as a tool and find people to talk to. The humans are good.
It'll save you a lot of frustration and a lot of time, and ultimately will help your child get on the path they need quicker, which is very valuable. So.
It is. It sure is. Have a great night. Day.